What if I told you that buried beneath the earth, hidden for centuries, lie bones so massive they defy everything we thought we knew about human history? In the 1800s, reports began surfacing of enormous skeletal remains unearthed across the globe, bones that belonged to beings far larger than any human. Were these the remnants of ancient giants, or just the stuff of myth and legend? Stories of giants appear in nearly every culture, from the towering Nephilim in biblical texts to the colossal cyclops of Greek mythology. But could there be more to these tales than mere storytelling? What if the legends are rooted in a truth we've yet to fully uncover? Today, we're diving into the mystery of ancient giants, exploring the fascinating blend of historical accounts, archaeological discoveries, and cultural narratives that keep this enigma alive. We'll examine the evidence, question the myths, and confront the unanswered questions that continue to captivate us. Are giants merely the product of ancient imagination, or could they represent a forgotten chapter of our past? Let's begin by tracing the origins of these legends and uncovering where the line between myth and reality begins to blur. The idea of giants has been woven into the fabric of human storytelling for thousands of years, appearing in some of the oldest texts and oral traditions known to us. Take, for example, the Bible's mention of the Nephilim, described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. These beings are often interpreted as towering figures of immense strength, leaving a lasting impression on ancient Hebrew culture. Similarly, Greek mythology speaks of the Titans, colossal deities who predated the Olympian gods and whose very existence seemed to challenge the natural order. And let's not forget the Norse Jotunn, formidable beings who often clashed with gods like Thor and Odin, embodying the raw, untamed forces of nature. But what's truly fascinating is how these stories aren't confined to one region or culture. From the towering figures in the legends of the Native American Lenape people to the enormous beings recounted in Chinese folklore, tales of giants span the globe. This universality raises an intriguing question. Could these myths have been inspired by something more than imagination? Some researchers suggest that these stories might have originated from encounters with unusually tall individuals or even the discovery of prehistoric megafauna bones mistaken for the remains of giants. Archaeological evidence adds another layer to this mystery. In places like the Americas, massive earthworks and structures have been attributed to ancient giants by local legends. Could these myths be exaggerated accounts of real people or events, or do they hint at something even more extraordinary, a lost chapter of human history where giants walked the earth? As we piece together these ancient narratives, the line between myth and reality becomes increasingly blurred, inviting us to question what we think we know about the past. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, newspapers around the world were buzzing with sensational headlines about the discovery of giant skeletons. From the United States to Europe, reports emerged of enormous human-like bones unearthed in burial mounds, caves, and even beneath ancient ruins. One of the most famous examples comes from Lovelock Cave in Nevada, where in 1911, miners reportedly found skeletons measuring over 7 feet tall, alongside artifacts that seemed to suggest the presence of a culture much larger than the average human. Similar discoveries were made in places like Wisconsin, Ohio, and even as far as Turkey, sparking a wave of fascination and debate. But here's where things get murky. Many of these discoveries were later dismissed as hoaxes or misinterpretations. Skeptics argue that some of these so-called giant bones were either misidentified animal remains or outright fabrications created to sell newspapers or attract attention. For example, in the case of the Lovelock Cave skeletons, some researchers suggest that the bones could have belonged to ancient Native Americans, who are often taller than the average European settlers of the time. Others point to the fact that many of these finds were poorly documented, with little to no scientific scrutiny applied before the remains mysteriously vanished or were lost altogether. Yet, not all giant-related discoveries can be so easily dismissed. Modern archaeology has uncovered its share of puzzling finds. In recent years, excavations in places like the Caucasus Mountains and parts of South America have revealed unusually large bones and structures that defy easy explanation. Some of these remains, while not quite giant by traditional standards, are significantly larger than the average human skeleton, raising questions about whether they belong to individuals with rare genetic conditions or if they hint at something more extraordinary. What's particularly intriguing is how these modern discoveries are approached with far more scientific rigor than their 19th century counterparts. Advanced tools and techniques allow researchers to analyze bones and artifacts with precision, offering new insights into their origins. Still, even with these advancements, the mystery persists. Are these findings evidence of a forgotten race of giants, or are they simply the result of natural variation or cultural exaggeration? As we dig deeper into the archaeological record, one thing becomes clear: the line between myth and reality is far from settled. This brings us to an important question. Could the legends of giants be rooted in something tangible, or are they merely the product of human imagination and misinterpretation? The answer, as we'll see, may lie somewhere in between a fascinating blend of fact, folklore, and the enduring allure of the unknown. Folklore and oral traditions have always been a powerful way for communities to make sense of the world around them. When it comes to giants, these stories often served as explanations for the inexplicable. Imagine living in an ancient world where massive stone structures like Stonehenge or the pyramids loomed overhead. How did they get there? Who could have built them? For many cultures, the answer was simple: giants. These towering figures became a convenient way to account for the seemingly impossible feats of engineering and construction that early humans encountered. After all, if ordinary people couldn't move boulders weighing tons or carve intricate designs into mountainsides, surely it must have been the work of beings much larger and stronger than themselves. But the role of giants in folklore goes beyond just explaining the physical world. These stories also carried deeper psychological and cultural significance. In many traditions, giants embodied the forces of chaos and nature's raw power. They were often portrayed as adversaries to be defeated, representing the challenges and dangers that communities faced. Think of the biblical tale of David and Goliath, where the young hero triumphs over the towering giant, symbolizing the triumph of courage and faith over seemingly insurmountable odds. These narratives weren't just entertaining, they were tools for teaching moral lessons and reinforcing cultural values. At the same time, giants could also serve as cautionary figures, warning against hubris or the consequences of straying from societal norms. In Norse mythology, for instance, the Jötunn were often depicted as chaotic beings who threatened the order maintained by the gods. Their battles with figures like Thor weren't just epic tales of heroism, they were metaphors for the struggle between civilization and the untamed wilderness. By personifying these conflicts in the form of giants, storytellers made complex ideas about morality, power, and survival more relatable and memorable. Yet, while folklore provides a rich tapestry of meaning, it also raises an important question: how much of these stories is rooted in truth and how much is pure imagination? It's possible that some giant myths were inspired by the discovery of unusually large bones or the remains of prehistoric creatures. For example, the ancient Greeks might have stumbled upon fossilized bones of mammoths or mastodons and interpreted them as the remains of cyclopes or other mythical giants. Similarly, the Native American legend of the Sea Tikar, a race of red-haired giants, could have been influenced by encounters with tall, distinct individuals or the misinterpretation of ancient remains. This blending of fact and fiction is where folklore becomes both fascinating and frustrating. On one hand, these stories preserve cultural memory and offer insights into how ancient people viewed their world. On the other hand, they can obscure the truth, turning real events or discoveries into fantastical tales that are difficult to untangle. As we consider the role of folklore in shaping our perception of giants, we're left to wonder, are these stories merely imaginative explanations for the unknown, or do they hint at something more profound, something that has been lost to time? This interplay between myth and reality is what makes the study of giants so compelling. It challenges us to look beyond the surface of these tales and examine the deeper truths they might conceal. And as we continue to explore, one thing becomes clear. The line between folklore and fact is far from straightforward, inviting us to keep digging for answers. Modern science offers a fascinating lens through which to view the myths of ancient giants. One compelling explanation lies in the condition known as gigantism, a rare disorder caused by an overproduction of growth hormone. Throughout history, there have been documented cases of individuals who grew to extraordinary heights due to this condition. For example, Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in recorded history, stood at an astounding 8 feet 11 inches tall. In ancient times, encountering someone of such stature would undoubtedly leave a lasting impression, potentially inspiring tales of giants that echoed through generations. Could these rare individuals have been the seed for the legends we know today? Another scientific perspective points to the misinterpretation of fossilized remains. Imagine an ancient farmer plowing a field and uncovering the massive bones of a prehistoric creature like a mammoth or a dinosaur. Without the context of modern paleontology, how might they interpret such a find? To them, these enormous bones could easily resemble the remains of a giant humanoid. This idea isn't just speculation, there's historical evidence to support it. For instance, the ancient Greeks are believed to have encountered fossils of extinct animals, which they incorporated into their mythology. The skulls of mammoths, with their large central nasal cavities, might have been mistaken for the single-eyed cyclops, while other massive bones could have been attributed to the titans or other colossal beings. Experts in anthropology and archaeology also weigh in on the plausibility of ancient giants. While many dismiss the idea of a literal race of giants, they acknowledge that cultural memory can be shaped by extraordinary events or discoveries. Dr. Adrian Mayer, a historian of ancient science, has extensively studied how ancient peoples interpreted fossils. She argues that these discoveries often became intertwined with local legends, creating a blend of fact and fiction that persists to this day. In her view, the stories of giants aren't necessarily false, they're simply the ancient world's way of explaining the unexplainable. Yet, not all mysteries can be neatly resolved through science. Some discoveries continue to defy easy explanation, leaving room for curiosity and debate. Take, for instance, the elongated skulls found in Paracas, Peru. These skulls, significantly larger than those of average humans, have sparked theories ranging from genetic anomalies to entirely unknown civilizations. While some researchers attribute these findings to cultural practices like cranial deformation, others argue that the sheer size and shape of the skulls suggest something more unusual. This lingering uncertainty keeps the door open for speculation and wonder, reminding us that not every ancient enigma has a clear-cut answer. As we explore these scientific perspectives, it's clear that the line between myth and reality remains tantalizingly blurred. Whether through rare medical conditions, fossil misinterpretations, or unexplained archaeological finds, the stories of giants continue to captivate us. They challenge us to question what we know and to consider the possibility that the past holds secrets we've yet to fully uncover. And perhaps in that space between science and legend lies the true heart of the mystery, a reminder that the world is far more complex and wondrous than we often imagine. Among the most enduring and enigmatic figures in ancient texts are the Nephilim, described in the Bible as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. This cryptic passage found in the book of Genesis has sparked centuries of debate and interpretation. Were the Nephilim literal giants, or do they represent something more symbolic? Some scholars argue that these beings were towering figures of immense strength, often associated with the fallen angels who descended to earth. Others suggest that the term Nephilim might refer to a class of powerful, influential individuals rather than literal giants. Regardless of interpretation, the Nephilim have become a cornerstone of giant lore, weaving themselves into the fabric of both ancient history and modern speculation. The biblical narrative paints the Nephilim as a disruptive force, a hybrid race whose existence led to chaos and corruption. According to the text, their presence was one of the reasons for the Great Flood, a divine reset to cleanse the earth of their influence. This connection between giants and cataclysmic events is a recurring theme in many ancient cultures. For instance, Mesopotamian texts like the Epic of Gilgamesh also speak of beings of extraordinary size and strength, suggesting a shared cultural memory or perhaps even a common origin for these stories. The parallels between these accounts raise intriguing questions. Were the Nephilim a real phenomenon, or do they reflect a universal human fascination with the idea of larger-than-life beings? Modern interpretations of the Nephilim often tie them to theories about ancient astronauts or extraterrestrial intervention. Some researchers propose that the sons of God mentioned in Genesis could have been advanced beings from another world, whose union with humans resulted in a hybrid race. This idea, while controversial, has gained traction in certain circles, blending ancient texts with contemporary theories about humanity's origins. Others suggest that the Nephilim might have been part of an ancient, forgotten civilization, one that possessed knowledge and capabilities far beyond what we typically associate with early human societies. These interpretations, while speculative, highlight the enduring allure of the Nephilim as a symbol of mystery and power. Interestingly, the influence of the Nephilim extends beyond the Bible. Similar accounts of hybrid beings appear in other ancient texts, such as the Book of Enoch, which provides a more detailed description of the fallen angels and their giant offspring. According to this text, the Nephilim were responsible for introducing advanced knowledge to humanity, knowledge that included everything from metallurgy to astrology. This idea of giants as teachers or bringers of wisdom is echoed in other cultures, such as the Sumerian tales of the Anunnaki, who are said to have descended from the heavens to guide humanity. These connections suggest that the Nephilim might not have been isolated to the biblical narrative but part of a broader, interconnected tapestry of ancient myths. The question remains, how much of these stories is rooted in historical fact and how much is symbolic or allegorical? While the biblical accounts of the Nephilim are compelling, they are far from definitive. Some historians argue that these tales might have been inspired by encounters with unusually tall or powerful individuals whose stature and abilities were exaggerated over time. Others believe that the Nephilim represent a cultural memory of a time when humanity faced existential threats, a way of explaining the challenges and upheavals of the ancient world. Whatever the truth, the Nephilim continue to captivate our imagination, serving as a bridge between the sacred and the speculative, the ancient and the modern. As we explore these ancient texts, it's impossible not to notice how the stories of giants transcend time and geography. From the biblical Nephilim to the Greek Titans and beyond, these tales seem to echo a universal human fascination with the extraordinary. Whether as symbols of chaos, bearers of knowledge, or remnants of a forgotten past, giants occupy a unique place in our collective consciousness. And as we continue to uncover the layers of myth and meaning behind these stories, we're reminded that the past is far more complex and far more intriguing than we often give it credit for. The ancient Greeks were no strangers to tales of giants, and their mythology is teeming with larger-than-life figures who embody both awe and terror. At the heart of these stories are the Titans, primordial beings of immense size and power who ruled the cosmos before the rise of the Olympian gods. These colossal entities, born from Gaia, Earth, and Uranus, Sky, were said to wield unimaginable strength, shaping the world itself with their might. But the Titans weren't the only giants in Greek lore. Enter the Cyclops, one-eyed giants like Polyphemus, immortalized in Homer's Odyssey, who were often depicted as both fearsome adversaries and skilled craftsmen, forging the thunderbolts of Zeus in the depths of their volcanic forges. What's striking about these myths is how they reflect the Greeks' understanding of the world around them. The Titans, for instance, represented the raw, untamed forces of nature, earthquakes, storms, and volcanic eruptions that early humans struggled to comprehend. By personifying these phenomena as giants, the Greeks created a framework for explaining the chaos and power of the natural world. Similarly, the Cyclops, with their single eye and towering stature, may have been inspired by the discovery of ancient elephant skulls, whose large nasal cavities could easily be mistaken for a single eye socket. This blending of observation and imagination gave rise to stories that were as much about making sense of the unknown as they were about entertainment. Art and literature played a significant role in shaping how these giants were perceived. In pottery, sculptures, and mosaics, giants were often portrayed as formidable adversaries locked in epic battles with gods and heroes. These depictions weren't just artistic expressions, they reinforced cultural values, emphasizing the triumph of order over chaos, civilization over savagery. Take, for example, the famous Gigantomachy, a mythological war between the gods and the giants which became a popular theme in Greek art. These scenes weren't just decorative, they served as reminders of the gods' supremacy and the importance of maintaining cosmic balance. But the Greeks weren't alone in their fascination with giants. Similar myths appear across cultures, suggesting a shared human impulse to explain the extraordinary. In Norse mythology, the Jötunn giant beings who often clashed with the gods echo the Greek Titans in their portrayal as forces of chaos. Meanwhile, in Hindu mythology, the Asuras, or demonic giants, embody similar themes of conflict and cosmic struggle. These parallels raise an intriguing possibility. Could these myths have been inspired by real encounters with unusually tall individuals or the misinterpretation of ancient remains? Some researchers believe so. Just as the Greeks might have drawn inspiration from fossilized bones, other cultures could have crafted their own giant myths from similar discoveries. For instance, the Native American legend of the Carr, a race of red-haired giants, might have been influenced by the unearthing of unusually large skeletons or the remains of prehistoric animals. Even in China, tales of the giant Pangu who shaped the world from chaos bear striking similarities to the Greek creation myths involving titans. This interconnectedness of giant myths across cultures suggests something profound, that these stories aren't just isolated tales but part of a universal human narrative. Whether as symbols of nature's power, metaphors for cultural struggles, or the result of ancient fossil discoveries, giants have captured our imagination for millennia. As we explore these myths, we're reminded of the enduring power of storytelling and the ways in which it bridges the gap between the known and the unknown, the real and the imagined. So, what do these myths tell us about the human experience? Perhaps they reveal our innate desire to explain the extraordinary, to personify the forces that shape our world, and to find meaning in the mysteries that surround us. And as we continue to unravel these ancient tales, we're left with a question that lingers. Could the giants of myth hold a kernel of truth, or are they simply a reflection of our boundless imagination? The answer, as always, lies somewhere in between, a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown. The icy realms of Norse mythology are home to some of the most fearsome and fascinating giants in ancient lore, the Jötunn. These frost giants, towering beings of immense strength and elemental power, play a central role in the Norse creation myth. According to the Prose Edda, the world itself was born from the body of Ymir, the first Jötunn, whose flesh became the earth, his blood the seas, and his bones the mountains. From the very beginning, the Jötunn were intertwined with the fabric of existence, embodying the raw, untamed forces of nature that the Norse people both revered and feared. But the Jötunn weren't just passive figures in the background. They were active participants in the cosmic drama of Norse mythology. Their interactions with the gods, particularly Thor, are legendary. Thor, the thunder god, is often depicted as the sworn enemy of the Jötunn, embarking on countless quests to thwart their schemes and protect the realm of Midgard, the world of humans. These battles weren't just thrilling tales of heroism. They reflected the Norse worldview, where the struggle between order and chaos was a constant theme. The Jötunn, with their unpredictable and often destructive nature, represented the chaos that threatened to engulf the world, while the gods stood as the guardians of order and stability. One of the most famous encounters between Thor and the Jötunn is the story of his journey to Utgard, a fortress ruled by the giant king Utgard Loki. In this tale, Thor and his companions are subjected to a series of seemingly impossible challenges, only to discover that they have been deceived by illusions. This story, while entertaining, also carries a deeper message about the nature of perception and the limits of strength. It serves as a reminder that even the mightiest heroes can be humbled by forces beyond their understanding, a theme that resonated deeply with the Norse people, who lived in a harsh and unpredictable environment. The Jötunn also played a significant role in the Norse concept of fate and the inevitability of Ragnarok, the apocalyptic battle that would ultimately destroy the gods and the world as they knew it. In this final conflict, the Jötunn would rise alongside other monstrous beings to challenge the gods, symbolizing the ultimate triumph of chaos over order. Yet, even in this bleak vision, there is a glimmer of hope, as the world is destined to be reborn from the ashes, suggesting a cyclical view of existence that reflects the natural rhythms of the Norse world. Interestingly, the Jötunn share striking similarities with giants from other mythologies, such as the Greek Titans and the Hindu Asuras. Like the Jötunn, these beings often embody the chaotic and destructive aspects of nature, serving as foils to the gods who represent order and civilization. This recurring theme across cultures suggests a universal human fascination with the idea of giants as both creators and destroyers, symbols of the primal forces that shape our world. As we explore the legends of the Jötunn, it becomes clear that these stories are more than just tales of epic battles and mythical beings. They offer a window into the fears, values, and worldview of the Norse people, revealing how they grappled with the challenges of their environment and the mysteries of existence. Whether as embodiments of chaos, adversaries of the gods, or harbingers of doom, the Jötunn continue to captivate our imagination, reminding us of the enduring power of myth to illuminate the human experience. And as we turn our attention to other giant legends, we can't help but wonder, what deeper truths might these ancient stories hold, waiting to be uncovered? Across the vast landscapes of North America, Native American tribes have long told stories of giant beings of extraordinary size and strength who once walked the earth. Among the most famous of these legends are the tales of the Ct. Carr, a race of red-haired giants said to have inhabited the region around Lovelock Cave in Nevada. According to Paiute oral tradition, the Setikar were fierce and warlike, engaging in brutal conflicts with the indigenous tribes. The stories recount how the Paiute eventually drove the giants into Lovelock cave and set it ablaze, ending their reign. These accounts, passed down through generations, are more than just folklore. They are a vital part of the cultural memory of the Paiute people, offering a glimpse into their worldview and historical experiences. But what makes these stories so compelling is the potential connection to physical evidence. In the early 20th century, excavations at Lovelock Cave unearthed a trove of artifacts and human remains, including some unusually large bones. These findings sparked speculation that the legends of the Setikar might have been inspired by real encounters with a group of tall, distinct individuals. While some researchers argue that the bones could belong to ancient Native Americans who were naturally taller than average, others suggest that the remains might hint at a more mysterious origin. The discovery of red hair on some of the artifacts further fueled the idea that these giants could have been a separate, unique population. The significance of these stories extends beyond the physical evidence. For many Native American tribes, legends of giants served as a way to explain the unexplainable, whether it was the origins of ancient ruins, the presence of massive bones, or the challenges faced by their ancestors. These tales were not just entertainment, they were a means of preserving history, teaching moral lessons, and reinforcing cultural identity. The Setikar stories, for example, highlight themes of conflict, survival, and the triumph of the underdog, resonating deeply with the Paiute people's experiences and values. Yet the question remains, could these legends have a basis in historical events? Some scholars believe that the stories might have been influenced by encounters with individuals suffering from gigantism or other rare conditions. Others propose that the discovery of prehistoric animal bones, such as those of mammoths or mastodons, could have been misinterpreted as the remains of giants. This blending of fact and folklore is a recurring theme in the study of ancient myths, showcasing how cultural memory can transform real experiences into larger-than-life narratives. Archaeological evidence from the Americas adds another layer to this mystery. Sites like Cahokia in Illinois and the Serpent Mound in Ohio feature massive earthworks that have long been associated with tales of giants. Local legends often claim that these structures were built by beings of immense size and strength, a notion that persists even today. While modern archaeology attributes these constructions to the ingenuity and labor of ancient peoples, the enduring connection between giants and monumental architecture speaks to the power of these stories to capture the imagination. As we explore these Native American legends, it's impossible not to notice the similarities they share with giant myths from other cultures. From the biblical Nephilim to the Greek Titans, the idea of towering, powerful beings seems to be a universal theme. Could this suggest a shared human fascination with the extraordinary, or might it hint at something deeper, a collective memory of events or encounters that transcended cultural boundaries? The answer remains elusive, but the stories themselves continue to captivate, offering a window into the beliefs, fears, and creativity of the people who told them. By examining both the legends and the archaeological evidence, we gain a richer understanding of how these stories shaped and were shaped by the cultures that preserved them. Whether rooted in historical fact or born of imaginative storytelling, the tales of Native American giants remind us of the enduring power of myth to connect us to the past and to each other. And as we continue to uncover the layers of these ancient narratives, we're reminded that the line between legend and history is often as vast and mysterious as the giants themselves. The year was 1869, and in the small town of Cardiff, New York, a discovery was made that would send shockwaves through the nation and spark one of the most infamous hoaxes in American history. A farmer named William Newell claimed to have unearthed a 10-foot-tall petrified giant, while digging a well on his property. The figure, with its stone-like features and imposing stature, was immediately hailed as proof of biblical giants, capturing the imagination of a public already fascinated by tales of ancient beings. Crowds flocked to see the so-called Cardiff giant, and newspapers across the country ran sensational headlines, fueling the belief that this was no ordinary find. But as the excitement grew, so did the skepticism. The truth behind the Cardiff giant was far from extraordinary. It was a carefully crafted hoax. The giant was actually a sculpture carved from gypsum and aged with acid to give it the appearance of ancient stone. The mastermind behind the scheme was a man named George Hull, an atheist who sought to mock religious beliefs in biblical giants while making a quick profit. Hull had commissioned the statue in Chicago, secretly transported it to Newell's farm, and buried it a year before its discovery. The ruse was so convincing that even experts were initially fooled, with some scientists declaring it a genuine relic of a bygone era. What makes the Cardiff giant particularly fascinating is how it reveals the power of media and sensationalism in shaping public perception. At a time when newspapers were the primary source of information, the story spread like wildfire, feeding into a cultural obsession with giants and the unknown. People were eager to believe in something extraordinary, and the media capitalized on that desire, often blurring the line between fact and fiction. The hoax also highlights the role of human curiosity and gullibility in perpetuating myths. Even after the truth came out, many continued to believe in the giant's authenticity, a testament to how deeply these stories resonate with us. But the Cardiff giant isn't just a cautionary tale about deceit. It's also a window into how hoaxes can shape our understanding of history and mythology. For instance, some argue that similar hoaxes or misinterpretations might have contributed to the persistence of giant legends throughout the centuries. Could other discoveries of giant bones or artifacts have been elaborate tricks or cases of mistaken identity? The Cardiff giant reminds us to approach such claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, even as we remain captivated by the mysteries they represent. This raises an important question: how do hoaxes like this influence the way we interpret ancient myths? On one hand, they can discredit legitimate research by casting doubt on the entire field. On the other hand, they reveal something profound about human nature, our enduring fascination with the extraordinary and our willingness to believe in the impossible. The Cardiff giant may have been a fraud, but its legacy lives on, not just as a historical curiosity, but as a reminder of the interplay between myth, media, and the human desire to uncover the unknown. As we reflect on this infamous hoax, it's worth considering how it fits into the broader narrative of giant legends. While it may not provide concrete evidence of ancient giants, it offers valuable insights into how these stories are created, perpetuated, and sometimes exploited. And as we continue to explore the mysteries of the past, the Cardiff giant serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder to question what we're told, even as we remain open to the wonders that history and mythology have to offer. What happens when evidence vanishes? Throughout history, there have been claims of giant skeletons discovered only for those remains to mysteriously disappear, leaving behind more questions than answers. Stories abound of archaeologists, museums, and even government institutions allegedly hiding or destroying these findings. But how much of this is fact, and how much is fueled by conspiracy theories and the human tendency to fill in the gaps when mysteries remain unsolved? Take, for example, the countless reports from the 19th and early 20th centuries about giant skeletons unearthed in North America. Newspapers of the time often carried sensational stories of massive bones found in burial mounds or caves, only for those remains to vanish without a trace. Some believe these discoveries were intentionally suppressed to avoid disrupting established historical narratives or religious beliefs. Others argue that the skeletons were simply misidentified animal bones or outright fabrications, later discarded when their true nature was revealed. But the lack of verifiable proof has allowed speculation to flourish, creating a fertile ground for theories about cover-ups and lost civilizations. One of the most intriguing theories revolves around the Smithsonian Institution, which has been accused of hiding giant skeletons. According to some claims, the Smithsonian received numerous reports of oversized human remains over the years, only to quietly dispose of them. While the institution denies these allegations, pointing to a lack of credible evidence, the idea persists, fueled by a mix of skepticism and distrust toward authority. Could there be a grain of truth to these stories, or are they simply modern myths born from a desire to believe in something extraordinary? The disappearance of evidence isn't limited to bones. Artifacts, tools, and even entire structures attributed to giants have reportedly gone missing over time. In some cases, these losses can be attributed to poor record-keeping or the challenges of preserving fragile materials. In others, the lack of documentation raises eyebrows, leaving room for speculation. For instance, some researchers point to ancient sites like the Serpent Mound in Ohio, where local legends claim the builders were giants. Yet, without concrete evidence, these stories remain in the realm of folklore. So why do these claims of lost evidence persist? One explanation lies in the power of storytelling. Humans are naturally drawn to mysteries and the idea of hidden truths, especially when they challenge what we think we know about the past. The notion of a suppressed race of giants taps into this fascination, offering a tantalizing glimpse of a world where history might be far stranger and far more complex than we've been taught. But before we jump to conclusions, it's worth considering alternative explanations. Could the so-called lost evidence be the result of misinterpretation or exaggeration? For example, ancient peoples encountering the remains of extinct megafauna might have mistaken them for giants, creating stories that were later embellished over time. Similarly, the natural decay of organic materials over centuries could explain why so little physical evidence remains today. As we navigate these claims, it's clear that the line between fact and fiction is often blurred. While the idea of lost giant skeletons is undeniably captivating, it's also a reminder of the challenges historians and archaeologists face when piecing together the past. Without concrete evidence, these stories remain tantalizing mysteries, inviting us to question, explore, and imagine the possibilities. And as we turn our attention to the broader implications of these tales, we're reminded that the search for truth is often as compelling as the stories themselves. The idea of towering figures walking among us might seem like the stuff of legend, but what if some of these stories were inspired by real people? Enter gigantism, a medical condition caused by an overproduction of growth hormone, often due to a tumor on the pituitary gland. This rare disorder can lead to extraordinary height, with individuals often growing well beyond 7 feet tall. In ancient times, encountering someone with gigantism would have been a remarkable and unforgettable experience, one that could easily seed stories of giants passed down through generations. Take, for example, Robert Wadlow, the tallest recorded human in history. Born in 1918, Wadlow reached an astonishing height of 8 feet 11 inches before his untimely death at the age of 22. His towering stature made him a spectacle in his time, drawing crowds wherever he went. Imagine how someone of his size would have been perceived in an ancient society without the context of modern medicine. To those who encountered him, Wadlow might have seemed like a living giant, a figure straight out of myth. Could individuals like him have been the inspiration behind ancient tales of towering beings? Historical records suggest that people with gigantism have existed throughout human history. The Roman Emperor Maximinus Thrax, for instance, was said to stand over 8 feet tall, with accounts describing him as a fearsome warrior of immense strength. While these descriptions may be exaggerated, they highlight how extraordinary size could elevate an individual to legendary status. In a world where average heights were significantly shorter, someone with gigantism would have stood out as a living anomaly, their presence etched into the collective memory of their community. But gigantism isn't just about height. It often comes with physical challenges such as joint pain, vision problems, and other health complications. These struggles might have added to the mystique surrounding individuals with the condition, making them seem both powerful and otherworldly. In some cultures, physical differences were often interpreted as signs of divine favor or supernatural origins, further blurring the line between reality and myth. Could the giants of ancient lore have been ordinary people with extraordinary conditions, their lives transformed into legends over time? While gigantism offers a plausible explanation for some giant myths, it's important to consider the limitations of this theory. Not all legends describe giants as simply tall. Many portray them as beings of immense strength, supernatural abilities, or even multiple heads. These exaggerated traits suggest that storytelling played a significant role in shaping these narratives, blending real experiences with imaginative embellishments. Still, the idea that gigantism could have inspired some of these tales is a compelling one, offering a bridge between science and myth. This raises an intriguing question. How do we distinguish between the possible origins of giant legends? While gigantism provides a medical explanation, other factors, like the discovery of prehistoric animal bones or cultural storytelling traditions, could also have contributed to these myths. The interplay of these elements reminds us that history is rarely straightforward, and that the truth often lies in the spaces between fact and fiction. As we continue to explore the mystery of ancient giants, gigantism serves as a fascinating lens through which to view these enduring tales, offering a glimpse into how the extraordinary can shape our understanding of the past. Imagine stumbling upon a massive bone protruding from the earth, its size unlike anything you've ever seen. For ancient people, such a discovery would have been both awe-inspiring and baffling. Without the tools or knowledge of modern paleontology, how might they have interpreted these remains? It's entirely possible that the bones of prehistoric creatures like mammoths, mastodons, or even dinosaurs were mistaken for the skeletons of giants. This misinterpretation could have given rise to some of the most enduring myths about colossal beings that once walked the earth. Take, for instance, the ancient Greeks. When they encountered the skulls of extinct elephants, the large central nasal cavity in the skull might have looked like a single eye socket. To them, this could have been evidence of the Cyclops, a one-eyed giant from their mythology. Similarly, the massive bones of dinosaurs or other prehistoric megafauna might have been interpreted as the remains of the Titans, the towering deities who predated the Olympian gods. These stories weren't just flights of fancy, they were attempts to make sense of the physical evidence that lay before them, blending observation with imagination. The role of paleontology in unraveling these mysteries cannot be overstated. As the scientific study of ancient life, paleontology provides the tools to identify and understand the true nature of fossilized remains. For example, what ancient people might have seen as a giant's femur could, in reality, be the thigh bone of a mammoth. By analyzing the structure, size, and context of these fossils, scientists can reconstruct the creatures they once belonged to, dispelling myths and shedding light on the ancient world. This process not only debunks misconceptions but also enriches our understanding of the past. One fascinating example comes from the Adriatic region, where the remains of extinct rhinoceros-like creatures called Deinotherium were once thought to belong to giants. These massive animals, with their long tusks and towering frames, would have left behind bones that could easily be mistaken for those of a humanoid giant. Similarly, in North America, the discovery of mastodon bones in the 18th century sparked speculation about a race of giant humans who once roamed the continent. It wasn't until paleontologists examined these remains that their true origins were revealed, yet the stories they inspired lingered on. But why do these myths persist even in the face of scientific evidence? The answer lies in the power of storytelling. Myths are not static, they evolve over time, adapting to new discoveries and cultural shifts. What begins as a misinterpretation of fossils can transform into a rich narrative that resonates with people's fears, hopes, and values. These stories become part of a shared cultural memory, passed down through generations and woven into the fabric of history. Even when the truth is uncovered, the myths endure, offering a glimpse into how our ancestors made sense of their world. As we consider the role of fossil misinterpretation in shaping giant myths, it's clear that these stories are more than just tall tales. They are a testament to human curiosity and creativity, reflecting our desire to explain the unknown and connect with the past. And while science may have debunked many of these myths, the questions they raise about how we interpret the world around us and how stories evolve remain as relevant as ever. So, the next time you hear a legend about giants, consider the bone or artifact that might have started it all, and marvel at the journey from discovery to myth. Could ancient megalithic structures like Stonehenge or the pyramids have been built by giants? It's a question that has captured imaginations for centuries, fueled by the sheer scale and complexity of these ancient wonders. Take Stonehenge, for example. Its massive stones, some weighing over 25 tons, were transported from miles away and arranged with astonishing precision. How did ancient people without modern machinery achieve such a feat? To some, the answer lies in the legends of giants, beings of immense strength and size who could move these stones with ease. But is there any truth to these claims, or are they simply the product of awe and speculation? The idea of giant builders isn't unique to Stonehenge. Similar theories have been proposed for the Great Pyramid of Giza, where over 2 million stone blocks, each weighing several tons, were meticulously stacked to create one of the most iconic structures in human history. The precision of its alignment with the stars and the complexity of its internal chambers have led some to speculate that only a race of giants could have accomplished such a task. These theories often draw on ancient texts and legends that attribute these structures to beings far larger and more powerful than ordinary humans. But before we leap to conclusions, let's examine the evidence or lack thereof. Modern archaeology provides a more grounded explanation for these engineering marvels. At Stonehenge, researchers have uncovered evidence of sophisticated techniques, such as the use of sledges, rollers, and possibly even wooden tracks to transport the stones. Similarly, the construction of the pyramids likely involved thousands of skilled workers, innovative tools, and a deep understanding of mathematics and astronomy. While the idea of giants might seem more exciting, the reality is that human ingenuity and cooperation were more than capable of achieving these incredible feats. So why do the legends of giant builders persist? Part of the answer lies in the cultural significance of these structures. For ancient societies, monuments like Stonehenge and the pyramids were more than just impressive buildings. They were symbols of power, spirituality, and connection to the divine. Attributing their construction to giants may have been a way to elevate their importance, framing them as gifts from the gods or remnants of a mythical age. In this sense, the legends of giant builders aren't just about explaining how these structures were made. They're about giving them meaning, embedding them in a larger narrative that transcends the physical world. Interestingly, the connection between giants and monumental architecture isn't limited to the ancient world. In many cultures, stories of giants are often tied to the creation of impressive structures, from the Cyclopean walls of Mycenae to the massive earthworks of Native American cultures. These tales serve as a reminder of how humans have always sought to explain the extraordinary, using the familiar framework of myth to make sense of the unknown. Whether as literal builders or symbolic figures, giants have become a universal motif, representing the awe-inspiring potential of human achievement and the mysteries that still surround it. As we explore these theories, it's important to approach them with both curiosity and skepticism. While the idea of giants building ancient structures is undeniably captivating, the evidence points to a different story, one of human creativity, determination, and collaboration. Yet, the enduring appeal of these legends reminds us of the power of storytelling to shape our understanding of the past. So, the next time you gaze upon the towering stones of Stonehenge or the grandeur of the pyramids, consider not just how they were built, but why we continue to be drawn to the idea of giants, and what that says about our own fascination with the extraordinary. In today's world, the idea of ancient giants isn't just confined to dusty old myths or archaeological debate. It's alive and well in pop culture. From blockbuster movies to gripping TV shows, giants have become a staple of modern storytelling, often portrayed as towering, enigmatic figures that blur the line between history and fantasy. Think of films like the BFG or Jack the Giant Slayer, where giants are reimagined as both fearsome adversaries and misunderstood beings. These depictions tap into our collective fascination with the extraordinary, bringing ancient legends to life in ways that captivate audiences of all ages. But how do these modern interpretations shape our understanding of the past? The influence of media extends far beyond entertainment. Documentaries, podcasts, and online forums have turned the mystery of ancient giants into a hot topic, often blending historical facts with speculative theories. Shows like Ancient Aliens or Mysteries of the Abandoned frequently explore the idea of giants as part of lost civilizations or even extraterrestrial visitors. While these programs can spark curiosity and introduce viewers to lesser-known historical sites, they also run the risk of sensationalism. By presenting unverified claims alongside credible research, they create a narrative that's as much about mystery as it is about history. This approach can leave viewers wondering how much of what we're seeing is rooted in fact and how much is pure speculation. Conspiracy theories have also played a significant role in keeping the idea of giants in the public eye. Online communities and social media platforms are filled with claims of suppressed evidence, from hidden government archives to secret archaeological findings. These theories often suggest that powerful institutions are hiding the truth about giants, either to protect established historical narratives or to conceal something even more extraordinary. While these claims lack concrete evidence, they thrive on the allure of the unknown, appealing to our innate desire to uncover hidden truths. The internet has amplified these ideas, creating a feedback loop where myths and misconceptions spread faster than ever before. But it's not all about conspiracy and sensationalism. Media and pop culture also have the power to educate and inspire. For instance, historical dramas and well-researched documentaries can bring ancient myths to life in ways that spark genuine interest in archaeology and history. By presenting giants as part of a broader cultural narrative, these works encourage viewers to explore the rich tapestry of human storytelling and consider how myths evolve over time. They remind us that legends are more than just stories. They're windows into the beliefs, fears, and aspirations of the people who created them. This raises an important question: how does modern storytelling influence our understanding of history? On one hand, it can make ancient myths more accessible, inviting us to see them as more than just relics of the past. On the other hand, it can blur the line between fact and fiction, leaving us to sift through a sea of conflicting information. As we navigate this landscape, it's worth remembering that the power of storytelling lies not just in the tales themselves, but in how they inspire us to ask questions, seek answers, and connect with the past in meaningful ways. So, whether we're watching a movie, scrolling through social media, or reading a conspiracy theory, the stories of ancient giants continue to captivate us. They remind us that history is not just a series of dates and events, it's a living, evolving narrative shaped by the stories we tell and the questions we ask. And as long as we remain curious, these tales will continue to spark our imagination, inviting us to explore the mysteries that lie at the heart of our shared human experience. The allure of conspiracy theories is undeniable, and when it comes to ancient giants, they've taken on a life of their own. Over the years, claims have emerged suggesting that governments and institutions are hiding evidence of giants to protect established historical narratives. Some theorists point to alleged discoveries of oversized bones that mysteriously disappeared or were confiscated by authorities. Others argue that powerful organizations suppress this information to avoid disrupting religious beliefs or challenging the status quo. These claims, while lacking concrete evidence, have fueled a thriving subculture of speculation and intrigue. But why do these theories persist, and what makes them so compelling? At their core, conspiracy theories tap into a deep psychological need to make sense of the unknown. They offer an alternative narrative, one that feels more exciting and meaningful than the often mundane explanations provided by mainstream science. For many, the idea of a hidden truth about ancient giants adds a layer of mystery to history, transforming it from a series of dry facts into a thrilling puzzle waiting to be solved. This appeal is amplified by the internet, where communities of like-minded individuals can share and amplify these ideas, creating a feedback loop that keeps the theories alive. The impact of these theories on historical research is a double-edged sword. On one hand, they can inspire curiosity and encourage people to explore lesser-known aspects of history. For example, the widespread interest in giants has led some amateur researchers to investigate ancient sites and artifacts that might otherwise have been overlooked. On the other hand, the prevalence of unverified claims can muddy the waters, making it harder to separate fact from fiction. This can undermine legitimate research, as skeptics often dismiss the entire topic of ancient giants as pseudoscience, ignoring the nuanced discussions that could lead to real discoveries. So, how do we navigate this complex landscape? The key lies in striking a balance between skepticism and open-mindedness. While it's important to critically evaluate claims and demand evidence, it's equally important to remain open to new possibilities. History is full of examples where once dismissed ideas were later proven true, reminding us that our understanding of the past is always evolving. By approaching the mystery of ancient giants with both curiosity and caution, we can explore the evidence without falling into the trap of unfounded speculation. This brings us to an important question. What role do we as individuals play in shaping the narrative around ancient giants? In an age of instant information and viral theories, it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a compelling story. But it's also our responsibility to question what we're told, to seek out credible sources, and to engage in thoughtful discussions that enrich our understanding of history. After all, the truth is often more fascinating than fiction, and sometimes it's waiting just beneath the surface, ready to be uncovered. As we step into the modern era, the search for evidence of ancient giants has taken on new life, fueled by advanced technology and a renewed curiosity about the mysteries of our past. Archaeologists and scientists are now applying cutting-edge tools like ground-penetrating radar, DNA analysis, and 3D imaging to revisit old sites and explore new ones in the hopes of uncovering definitive proof. From the deserts of the Middle East to the dense jungles of South America, expeditions are being launched with the goal of finding answers to questions that have intrigued humanity for centuries. But even with these advancements, the search is far from straightforward. One of the biggest challenges lies in distinguishing fact from fiction. Many alleged discoveries of giant remains have been debunked over the years, either as hoaxes or cases of mistaken identity. For instance, oversized bones once thought to belong to giants have often turned out to be the remains of prehistoric animals like mammoths or mastodons. And yet, the occasional discovery of unusually large human skeletons, such as those found in the Caucasus region or parts of South America, keeps the debate alive. These findings, while rare, are often met with skepticism, as they require rigorous scientific scrutiny to rule out natural explanations like genetic anomalies or cultural practices such as cranial deformation. Another hurdle is the fragmentary nature of the evidence. Many ancient sites have been looted or damaged over time, leaving behind only scattered clues. Even when promising discoveries are made, the lack of context can make it difficult to draw definitive conclusions. For example, a massive bone unearthed in a remote cave might seem like compelling evidence, but without accompanying artifacts or clear dating, it's hard to determine whether it belonged to a giant or simply an unusually tall individual. This ambiguity keeps the door open for speculation, but it also underscores the importance of meticulous research and collaboration across disciplines. Despite these challenges, the search for evidence continues, driven by a mix of scientific curiosity and cultural fascination. Some researchers are focusing on re-examining historical accounts and folklore, using them as guides to identify potential sites for exploration. Others are turning to genetic studies, analyzing ancient DNA to uncover clues about human evolution and the possibility of isolated populations with unusual traits. These efforts represent a shift from the sensationalism of the past to a more methodical, evidence-based approach, one that seeks to separate myth from reality while keeping an open mind about what the past might reveal. Looking to the future, the possibilities are as tantalizing as they are uncertain. Advances in technology could one day provide the tools needed to uncover definitive proof, whether in the form of untouched burial sites, preserved DNA, or even new interpretations of ancient texts. And as our understanding of human history continues to evolve, so too might our perspective on the legends of giants. Could future discoveries confirm the existence of these towering beings, or will they remain forever enshrined in myth? The answer may lie just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment and the right explorer to bring it to light. As we consider what the future might hold, one thing is clear: the search for ancient giants is about more than just uncovering bones or artifacts. It's a journey into the heart of human curiosity, a quest to understand the stories that have shaped our collective imagination. And whether or not giants ever walked the earth, their enduring presence in our myths and legends reminds us of the power of storytelling to connect us to the past and to each other. So, as the search continues, we're left to wonder, what other secrets might the earth be hiding, and what new stories will they inspire? What is it about giants that captures our imagination so profoundly? From ancient myths to modern blockbusters, these towering figures have a unique grip on our collective psyche. At their core, giants embody themes that are deeply rooted in human psychology: power, fear, and the unknown. They are larger-than-life manifestations of our deepest anxieties and aspirations, serving as both cautionary figures and symbols of awe. But why do these themes resonate so strongly across cultures and eras? To understand this, we need to look at how giants function in our stories and what they reveal about us. One of the most compelling aspects of giants is their representation of power. In many myths, giants are portrayed as beings of immense strength, capable of shaping landscapes or challenging the gods themselves. This taps into a universal human fascination with power, both the desire to possess it and the fear of being dominated by it. Giants remind us of our own vulnerability, forcing us to confront the limits of our strength and ingenuity. At the same time, they inspire us to imagine what it might be like to transcend those limits, to wield power on a scale that defies comprehension. This duality makes giants endlessly fascinating, as they simultaneously embody our fears and our dreams. Fear is another key element in the psychological appeal of giants. Their sheer size and strength make them natural symbols of danger and the unknown. In folklore, giants often inhabit remote or inaccessible places, mountains, caves, or distant lands, reinforcing their association with the mysterious and the untamed. This taps into a primal human fear of the unfamiliar, the things that lie beyond the edges of our understanding. By personifying these fears in the form of giants, storytellers give us a way to confront and process them, turning abstract anxieties into tangible adversaries. But giants aren't just about fear, they also represent the allure of the unknown. Their stories often explore themes of discovery and transformation, inviting us to venture beyond the boundaries of our everyday lives. Think of the Norse Jotunn, who embody the raw forces of nature, or the biblical Nephilim, whose existence blurs the line between the divine and the human. These figures challenge us to expand our horizons, to question what we think we know about the world and our place in it. In this sense, giants are more than just characters in a story. They are gateways to new ways of seeing and understanding the world around us. The psychological appeal of giants extends beyond ancient myths and into modern storytelling. In today's pop culture, giants continue to fascinate us, often serving as metaphors for contemporary issues. Take, for example, the towering kaiju of Japanese cinema, like Godzilla, who symbolize the destructive power of nature and technology. Or consider the giants in fantasy epics like Game of Thrones, where they embody the clash between tradition and progress. These modern interpretations show how the themes of power, fear, and the unknown remain relevant, even as the stories themselves evolve to reflect new concerns and contexts. This brings us to an important question. Why do these themes endure? The answer lies in their universality. Power, fear, and the unknown are fundamental aspects of the human experience, transcending time and culture. By exploring these themes through the lens of giants, storytellers create narratives that resonate on a deep, almost instinctual level. These stories remind us of our shared humanity, our common struggles and aspirations, and our endless curiosity about the world beyond our immediate reach. As we reflect on the psychological appeal of giants, it's clear that they are more than just figures of myth and legend. They are mirrors reflecting our deepest fears, our greatest desires, and our unquenchable thirst for the unknown. And as long as these themes continue to resonate, giants will remain a powerful and enduring presence in our stories, reminding us of the mysteries that lie just beyond the horizon, waiting to be explored. Giants have long been a source of inspiration for storytellers and artists, their colossal forms and larger-than-life personalities lending themselves to tales of wonder, danger, and moral lessons. In literature, giants often serve as powerful symbols, embodying everything from the forces of nature to the struggles of the human condition. Take, for example, the giants of fairy tales like Jack and the Beanstalk. Here, the giant is a figure of fear and greed, a towering obstacle that Jack must overcome to achieve his goals. This classic tale, while simple on the surface, reflects deeper themes of resourcefulness, bravery, and the triumph of the underdog values that resonate across cultures and generations. But not all literary giants are villains. In epic poems like Homer's Odyssey, the Cyclops Polyphemus is a more complex figure. While he is undeniably fearsome, his portrayal also evokes a sense of isolation and vulnerability. Blinded by Odysseus, Polyphemus becomes a tragic figure, crying out to his father Poseidon for vengeance. This duality, giants as both terrifying and pitiable, reveals how storytellers use these figures to explore the complexities of power, morality, and human emotion. Whether as antagonists or tragic heroes, giants in literature often serve as mirrors, reflecting our own strengths and weaknesses back at us. Art, too, has played a significant role in shaping our perception of giants. From ancient cave paintings to Renaissance masterpieces, artists have depicted giants in ways that reveal the values and fears of their time. Medieval manuscripts often portrayed giants as monstrous beings, their hulking forms embodying chaos and sin. These images were not just decorative, they were moral lessons, warning viewers of the dangers of straying from righteous paths. In contrast, the Romantic era saw giants depicted as awe-inspiring figures, their immense size symbolizing the sublime power of nature. Paintings from this period often show humans dwarfed by towering landscapes or mythical beings, evoking a sense of wonder and humility. These artistic interpretations are more than just creative expressions, they are windows into the societies that produced them. By examining how giants are depicted in art, we can gain insights into the cultural values and anxieties of different eras. For instance, the medieval emphasis on giants as symbols of sin reflects the religious concerns of the time, while the Romantic focus on their awe-inspiring nature speaks to a growing fascination with the natural world and humanity's place within it. These depictions also show how giants have been used to explore universal themes, from the struggle between good and evil to the awe-inspiring power of the unknown. Interestingly, the connection between artistic representations and real-world myths is often a two-way street. Just as myths inspire art, art can shape how we perceive and interpret those myths. Consider the enduring image of the Cyclops, popularized not just by Homer but also by countless artists who have depicted the one-eyed giant over the centuries. These visual representations have become so ingrained in our collective imagination that they influence how we think about the Cyclops myth, often overshadowing the original text. This interplay between art and myth highlights the powerful role that visual storytelling plays in shaping our understanding of the past. As we explore the portrayal of giants in literature and art, it's clear that these figures are more than just characters in stories or subjects of paintings. They are cultural touchstones reflecting the values, fears, and aspirations of the societies that created them. By examining these representations, we gain a deeper understanding of how myths evolve over time, adapting to new contexts and continuing to resonate with audiences across the ages. Whether as symbols of chaos, embodiments of nature's power, or metaphors for human struggles, giants remain a powerful and enduring presence in our cultural imagination, inviting us to see the world through the eyes of those who came before us and to ponder the mysteries they sought to explain. Religion has long played a pivotal role in shaping the stories of giants, weaving them into the very fabric of spiritual and moral narratives. In the Bible, giants like the Nephilim are described as the offspring of divine beings and humans, embodying a blend of the sacred and the profane. These towering figures are often portrayed as symbols of chaos and divine judgment, their existence serving as a warning against straying from righteousness. The Great Flood, for instance, is said to have been sent to cleanse the earth of their corrupting influence. This connection between giants and cataclysmic events underscores their role as both physical and moral forces, challenging humanity to reckon with the consequences of its actions. Hindu epics also feature giants known as asuras, who embody a different yet equally profound set of themes. In texts like the Mahabharata and Ramayana, asuras are often depicted as powerful but flawed beings, locked in eternal conflict with the gods or devas. These battles aren't just clashes of strength, they represent the struggle between order and chaos, light and darkness, and the eternal quest for balance. The Asura's immense size and strength make them formidable adversaries, but their downfall often stems from their own arrogance or moral failings. In this way, giants in Hindu mythology serve as cautionary figures, reminding devotees of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the importance of humility. The symbolic meaning of giants in religious contexts extends beyond their physicality. In many traditions, giants represent the overwhelming power of nature or the divine, forces that dwarf human understanding and capability. They are often associated with the untamed wilderness, the vast unknown, or the boundaries between the mortal and the divine. For example, in Norse mythology, the Jötunn are embodiments of the raw, chaotic forces of nature, constantly challenging the gods who seek to impose order. This duality, giants as both creators and destroyers, reflects the complex relationship between humanity and the natural world, as well as the tension between human limitation and divine power. Religious beliefs have also influenced how modern culture interprets giants. The idea of giants as divine or semi-divine beings has found new life in contemporary storytelling, from fantasy novels to blockbuster films. In these modern retellings, giants often retain their symbolic weight, serving as metaphors for existential threats or moral challenges. For instance, in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, the ancient tree-like giants embody the wisdom and power of nature, standing as guardians against the destructive forces of industrialization. Similarly, in Game of Thrones, the giants of the North are both awe-inspiring and tragic, their strength and simplicity contrasting with the political machinations of the human characters. This interplay between ancient religious narratives and modern interpretations highlights the enduring relevance of giants as symbols. They continue to captivate us because they speak to fundamental human concerns: our place in the universe, our relationship with the divine, and our struggle to balance power and morality. Whether as cautionary figures, embodiments of nature, or metaphors for the unknown, giants remain a powerful lens through which we explore the mysteries of existence. As we consider how religious beliefs have shaped giant myths, it's worth reflecting on what these stories reveal about our collective psyche. Giants are more than just characters in ancient texts. They are reflections of our deepest fears, aspirations, and questions. By examining their role in religious narratives, we gain insight into how different cultures have grappled with the same timeless themes, and how these themes continue to resonate in our modern world. The stories of giants, rooted in religion and myth, remind us that the search for meaning is as vast and complex as the giants themselves. The line between myth and history is often as fluid as the stories themselves, and nowhere is this more evident than in the tales of ancient giants. For centuries, myths have served as a way for cultures to explain the unexplainable, to make sense of a world filled with mysteries and marvels. Giants, with their towering stature and larger-than-life presence, became a convenient explanation for everything from massive stone structures to natural disasters. But beneath these stories lies a deeper truth. Myths aren't just flights of fancy, they're a way of preserving cultural memory, a bridge between the past and the present. Imagine living in a world without modern science, where the forces of nature seemed both awe-inspiring and terrifying. How would you explain the massive stones of Stonehenge or the towering pyramids of Giza? To ancient people, the idea that giants built these wonders made perfect sense. These tales weren't just about satisfying curiosity. They were about creating a shared understanding of the world, one that connected communities across generations. Myths became a way to pass down knowledge, encode values, and make sense of the chaos of existence. In this sense, giants weren't just characters in stories. They were symbols embodying the fears, hopes, and questions of the people who told their tales. But as much as myths enrich our understanding of the past, they also present a challenge. How do we separate fact from fiction? the stories of giants are a perfect example of this dilemma. On one hand, they offer invaluable insights into how ancient cultures viewed their world. On the other, they can obscure the truth, turning real events or discoveries into fantastical narratives that are difficult to untangle. Take, for instance, the ancient Greeks who encountered fossilized bones and interpreted them as the remains of cyclopes or titans. While these stories are fascinating, they also highlight how easily observation can be shaped by imagination. This blending of myth and history isn't unique to giants. It's a universal aspect of human storytelling. From the Norse Jotunn to the Hindu Asuras, myths across cultures reflect a shared impulse to explain the extraordinary. But they also reveal something deeper, our need to find meaning in the unknown. Whether as cautionary figures, embodiments of nature's power, or metaphors for human struggles, giants have captured our imagination because they speak to something primal within us, a desire to understand the world and our place in it. As we navigate the intersection of myth and history, it's crucial to approach these stories with both curiosity and critical thinking. While myths offer a window into the beliefs and values of ancient cultures, they shouldn't be mistaken for literal truths. Instead, they invite us to explore the rich tapestry of human imagination, to consider how stories evolve over time, and to reflect on the ways in which we make sense of our own world. By separating fact from fiction, we not only gain a clearer understanding of the past, but also deepen our appreciation for the enduring power of storytelling. And so, as we continue to unravel the mysteries of ancient giants, we're reminded that the truth is often more complex and more fascinating than the myths themselves. These stories, born from the interplay of observation and imagination, challenge us to think critically, to question what we know, and to embrace the wonder of the unknown. In doing so, they invite us to see history not as a fixed set of facts, but as a living, evolving narrative, one that continues to inspire, provoke, and captivate us to this day. The legacy of ancient giant myths stretches far beyond their origins, weaving their way into the fabric of modern culture in ways that are both subtle and profound. From the pages of fantasy novels to the silver screen, giants continue to captivate our imagination, their towering forms and larger-than-life personalities serving as powerful symbols of strength, chaos, and the unknown. Take, for instance, the iconic giants of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, the Ents, ancient tree-like beings who embody the wisdom and resilience of nature. These characters aren't just fantastical creations, they're modern echoes of the giants who once roamed the myths of old, reminding us of the enduring power of these ancient stories. In cinema, giants have become a staple of blockbuster storytelling, often portrayed as both fearsome adversaries and complex figures. Films like Jack the Giant Slayer and the BFG reimagined classic tales for contemporary audiences, blending action and emotion to explore themes of bravery, vulnerability, and the clash between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Even in science fiction, giants take on new forms, from the towering kaiju of Pacific Rim to the colossal titans of Attack on Titan. These modern interpretations show how giants continue to evolve, reflecting the fears and aspirations of each new generation. But why do these myths endure? At their core, giants tap into something universal, a fascination with the extraordinary and a desire to confront the unknown. They embody the awe and terror we feel when faced with forces beyond our control, whether it's the raw power of nature or the complexities of human emotion. Through these stories, we explore our own limitations and potential, finding meaning in the struggle to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. Giants, in this sense, are more than just characters. They're mirrors reflecting our deepest fears and highest hopes. The lessons we can learn from these myths are as varied as the stories themselves. On one hand, they remind us of the importance of humility, of recognizing our place in a vast and often unpredictable world. On the other, they inspire us to embrace curiosity and resilience, to face the unknown with courage and determination. Whether as cautionary figures or symbols of hope, giants challenge us to think beyond the boundaries of our everyday lives, to imagine what lies beyond the horizon, and to strive for something greater. As we reflect on the legacy of giant myths, it's clear that their power lies not just in their size, but in their ability to connect us to something larger than ourselves. They remind us that storytelling is one of the most profound ways we make sense of the world, and that the stories we tell, no matter how ancient, continue to shape who we are and who we might become. In the end, giants are more than just myths. They're a testament to the enduring power of the human imagination and the timeless quest to understand the mysteries that surround us. Now, let's tackle some of the most common misconceptions about ancient giants, starting with the idea that all giant myths are based on real, towering humanoids who once roamed the earth. While it's tempting to imagine a world where giants walked among us, the truth is far more nuanced. Many of these myths likely originated from a combination of cultural storytelling, misinterpreted natural phenomena, and even the discovery of unusually large bones. For instance, the remains of prehistoric animals like mammoths or mastodons could easily have been mistaken for giant humans by ancient peoples who lacked the scientific knowledge to identify them correctly. These misinterpretations, passed down through generations, became the foundation for many of the giant legends we know today. Another widespread misconception is that all ancient giant stories are rooted in exaggeration or fantasy. While some myths certainly fall into this category, others may have been inspired by real encounters with individuals who stood out due to their extraordinary size. Conditions like gigantism, though rare, could have produced individuals significantly taller than the average person in ancient times. Imagine how a 7-foot-tall person might have been perceived in a society where the average height was much shorter. They would have seemed larger than life, their story ripe for embellishment over time. This blending of reality and imagination is a hallmark of how myths evolve, transforming real-world anomalies into legendary figures. It's also worth noting that not all giant myths are universal. While many cultures share similar stories, the specifics often vary widely. For example, the biblical Nephilim are described as hybrid beings with divine origins, while the Norse Jotunn are elemental forces of chaos. These differences suggest that giant myths were shaped by the unique experiences, values, and environments of the cultures that created them. Rather than pointing to a single, shared reality, they reflect the diversity of human imagination and the ways different societies grappled with the unknown. So, how can we separate fact from fiction when it comes to ancient giants? The key lies in critical thinking and a willingness to examine the evidence. Instead of accepting myths at face value, we can look to archaeology, anthropology, and even genetics for clues. For instance, when oversized bones are discovered, scientists can analyze them to determine whether they belong to humans, animals, or something else entirely. By approaching these stories with both curiosity and skepticism, we can better understand how myths are created and why they endure. This brings us to an important point. Questioning historical claims doesn't mean dismissing them outright. It means approaching them with an open mind, evaluating the evidence, and considering alternative explanations. The stories of ancient giants are a perfect example of how history and myth intertwine, offering us a glimpse into the minds of those who came before us. By thinking critically about these tales, we not only uncover the truths they may hold, but also deepen our appreciation for the richness of human storytelling. As we continue to explore the mysteries of ancient giants, let's remember that myths are more than just stories. They're windows into the human experience, reflecting our fears, hopes, and unending curiosity about the world around us. And while the truth may not always be as dramatic as the legends, it's often just as fascinating. What lies ahead in the search for answers about ancient giants? The future of giant research is brimming with possibilities, fueled by advancements in technology and a growing curiosity about our past. Imagine archaeologists equipped with ground-penetrating radar uncovering hidden burial sites, or geneticists analyzing ancient DNA to uncover clues about human evolution and the existence of unusually tall populations. These tools are revolutionizing the way we explore history, offering new ways to test old theories and uncover secrets long buried beneath the earth. One of the most exciting developments is the potential for interdisciplinary collaboration. Archaeologists, geneticists, and historians are joining forces to tackle these mysteries from multiple angles. For instance, DNA analysis could reveal whether certain ancient populations had genetic traits that led to exceptional height, while archaeological digs might uncover tools or structures that hint at the presence of a culture far larger than average. By combining these approaches, researchers could piece together a more complete picture of what or who these giants might have been, but the road ahead isn't without challenges. Many ancient sites have been damaged or looted over the centuries, leaving behind only fragments of evidence. Even when promising discoveries are made, the lack of context can make it difficult to draw definitive conclusions. A massive bone found in a remote cave, for example, might hint at a giant, but without accompanying artifacts or clear dating, it's hard to say for sure. This ambiguity keeps the mystery alive, but it also underscores the importance of meticulous research and careful interpretation. Despite these hurdles, the potential for groundbreaking discoveries remains high. As technology continues to evolve, so too does our ability to explore the past in ways that were once unimaginable. Advanced imaging techniques like 3D scanning allow us to study fragile artifacts without risking damage, while machine learning algorithms can sift through vast amounts of data to identify patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. These tools are opening doors to new possibilities, giving researchers the chance to revisit old sites with fresh eyes and uncover truths that have been hidden for millennia. This brings us to an important question. What could these future discoveries mean for our understanding of history? If evidence of ancient giants were to be found, it could reshape our perception of the past, challenging long-held assumptions and sparking new debates about human origins. Even if no definitive proof is uncovered, the search itself is a testament to our enduring fascination with the unknown. It reminds us that history is not a static collection of facts, but a living, evolving narrative shaped by the questions we ask and the stories we tell. As we look to the future, one thing is clear: the allure of ancient giants isn't going away. These stories, whether rooted in fact or fiction, continue to captivate us because they tap into something fundamental about the human experience, our curiosity, our imagination, and our desire to make sense of the world around us. And as long as there are mysteries to solve and questions to ask, the search for answers will go on, inviting us to explore the unknown and uncover the secrets that lie just beyond our reach. What is it about giants that keeps us coming back century after century, drawn to their towering forms and the mysteries they embody? Perhaps it's the sheer scale of their presence, both literal and symbolic, that makes them impossible to ignore. Giants represent something larger than life, whether it's the forces of nature, the power of the divine, or the boundaries of human potential. They challenge us to confront our own limitations while inspiring us to imagine what lies beyond them. In a world filled with unknowns, giants offer a way to grapple with the vastness of existence, giving shape to our fears and aspirations alike. But there's more to their appeal than just their size. Giants are deeply woven into the fabric of storytelling, serving as powerful metaphors for the struggles and triumphs of the human experience. From the biblical Nephilim to the Norse Jotunn, These figures embody timeless themes: order versus chaos, creation versus destruction, and the eternal quest for meaning. They remind us that stories are more than just entertainment. They're a way to explore the complexities of life, to teach moral lessons, and to connect with one another across time and culture. Giants, in this sense, are more than characters, they're symbols, reflecting the values and anxieties of the societies that created them. The mystery of giants also taps into something fundamental about human nature, our unquenchable curiosity. We are drawn to the unknown, to the questions that defy easy answers. What if giants were real? What secrets might they hold about our past? These questions ignite our imagination, driving us to explore, to question, and to seek out the truth, no matter how elusive it may be. Giants, as both myth and mystery, embody this quest for knowledge, reminding us that the pursuit of understanding is as important as the answers themselves. At the same time, giants serve as a bridge between the past and the present, connecting us to the stories of those who came before us. They remind us that history is not just a series of dates and events, but a living, evolving narrative shaped by the stories we tell. By exploring the myths of giants, we gain insight into how ancient cultures viewed their world, and how those perspectives continue to influence us today. These stories challenge us to think critically, to question what we know, and to embrace the wonder of the unknown. As we prepare to conclude this journey into the mystery of ancient giants, it's worth reflecting on what these stories mean for us now. They remind us of the power of storytelling to connect us to the past, to inspire us in the present, and to guide us into the future. Whether as symbols of nature's power, metaphors for human struggles, or gateways to the unknown, giants continue to captivate us because they speak to something deep within us, a desire to understand the world and our place within it. And as long as that desire remains, the mystery of giants will endure, inviting us to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining the possibilities. As we reach the end of this journey into the mystery of ancient giants, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered. From the towering Nephilim of the Bible to the frost giants of Norse mythology, stories of giants have captivated humanity for thousands of years. These tales, found in nearly every culture, often serve as powerful metaphors explaining the unexplainable, embodying the forces of nature, or even representing the struggles between order and chaos. But are these stories purely the products of imagination, or could they be rooted in something more tangible? We've explored how ancient peoples might have misinterpreted the bones of prehistoric animals, leading to legends of giants that persisted through generations. We've also considered the possibility that rare conditions like gigantism could have inspired these myths, with unusually tall individuals leaving an indelible mark on their communities. And let's not forget the role of archaeology. Modern discoveries, while often ambiguous, continue to fuel the debate, challenging us to rethink what we know about the past. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of these stories is their universality. From the Greek Titans to the Native American C.T. Carr, giants appear in myths across the globe, each culture weaving its own unique narrative around these colossal figures. This shared fascination suggests something deeper, a universal human desire to make sense of the world and our place within it. Giants, whether real or imagined, remind us of the mysteries that still surround us, urging us to question, explore, and imagine. So, where does this leave us? The truth about ancient giants remains elusive, hidden somewhere between myth and reality. While science and archaeology offer valuable insights, they also remind us how much we still don't know. The stories of giants are more than just relics of the past. They are invitations to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to remain open to the possibilities that history and mythology have to offer. As we close this chapter, let's leave you with one final thought. Will we ever truly know the truth about ancient giants? or will they remain forever enshrined in the realm of myth and mystery? The answer may lie in the spaces between what we can prove and what we can only imagine. What do you think? Could giants have walked the earth, or are they simply the product of human creativity and curiosity? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of history. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and never stop wondering about the extraordinary stories that shape our world.